I leaned over to my husband and I said, hey, listen, I want to give away half our revenue. He's like, we don't make 50% profit. Like, you can't give away half. And I was like, okay, well, what can we do? And he said, you can give away half your profit. 2 weeks later, so when I cut the check in April, I was losing clients. Like, I committed to it. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. That same day, I got a call from an attorney out in California. He was like, hey, listen, I heard you're the only one that can supply right now. But it was like, I see when you put something out there and you are a person of your word and integrity, like it just comes back to you tenfold.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, guys, we got Lauren Vaughn here today. Love the outfit.
Thank
got the
you.
Rolex.
I appreciate it.
Got a lot of rings there too.
Yes.
All blinged out, and the necklace.
And the necklace, yes.
Representing. Love it. What you doing in town? The conference you mentioned?
Yeah, so there was Mass Torts Made Perfect. And so we went and saw some of our personal injury lawyers and then ending the day with you.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I know you're big in the injury space, right? Injury law space.
Yes.
How'd you get started there?
Funny story. I was actually working at AT&T and I was selling phones and someone came in to return a phone and I sold it back to them. And he was like, hey, I need you to come do sales for me and be my assistant. And he did TV commercials for personal injury lawyers. So that's how I started. So I was the gopher. So I would go and like pick them up from the airport, kind of hear their problems, things like that. And then over the next like 5 years, ended up running that company and just through problem solving pretty much. And then decided to start my own after I wanted to move back to Oklahoma because I was in Dallas. Had a little 1-year-old and decided it was a good time. So
nice. Yeah. Wait, so you sold the phone he returned?
Yes, I did.
What happened there?
It was a Moto Q, and so we were in an AT&T retail store, so we couldn't even sell the iPhone. So we weren't able to sell that. So he was returning it to get an iPhone. So I had to sell him on why the Moto Q was better than the iPhone. So I went through that with him, sold it back to him, and then
wow,
yeah,
that is legendary.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up thinking I was, gonna work with personal injury lawyers as a little girl, right? But it just ended up happening. So it's been great.
Personal injury. My mom's dating a personal injury lawyer right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'll connect you with him. He's in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you guys can do some business or something.
I love it. I'd love to meet him.
Yeah, you help them get more clients, right?
I do.
So he's struggling with that. Shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Mike. Yeah. So we are matchmakers. I mean, being honest. So what we do is we go into the marketplace and instead of someone calling a lawyer, they call us and then we're able to match them with an attorney. And then on the flip side, an attorney, like let's say they don't have intake staff to be able to fill through leads. They call me and they say, hey, Lauren, need 100 cases. I'm like, great, next month, cost X amount of dollars, and then you have it. And so we're able to help you scale and grow without having to really build out that frontline infrastructure, which everyone knows like that's the hardest to hire. Right. So
yeah, he needs that because they're old school. So they'll buy like billboards, newspaper ads and all that. I don't even know if those work anymore. I see them in Vegas all the time on the billboards.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of depends on what you want your cost per case to be. And also if you're a TV guy. So if you're spending $1 million a month on TV, then you want them to see you everywhere, right? Billboards and everything. But if someone says, hey, I'm going to go spend 50 grand on billboards and that's the only form of advertising, I just don't think you're going to get a good ROI on that.
Same. I mean, I've never been inclined to call them off a billboard.
No.
Damn, people are spending $1 million a month on TV though?
We have people who spend a couple million a month with us.
Holy crap.
It's crazy.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense because if they win a couple big cases, that's a big payout.
Yeah, I mean, average ROI from what we know with some of our larger clients is they make 3 to 6x on their investment with Quintessa.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive to be able to do that. Pretty much sell anyone on that.
Yep. Well, and I mean, I think it comes down to operational excellence, right? So like they have to be able to execute on the case, but they're doing what they do best, which is being a lawyer, right? And we're doing what we do best, which is developing the cases. And so as long as I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you get that ROI.
Yeah. Now you're making a lot of money, but you're also donating half of it.
We are. Yeah. We're giving away half our profit.
And what caused you to start doing that? And when did that happen?
So right before did happen. We were, my husband and I were at Life Church, and we were listening to a sermon from someone who was visiting in, and he was talking about irrational generosity. And I've always grown up like with my mom and dad being really generous, and grew up in the church. Like you've always see like tithing and all of that. But I would see my dad do some pretty amazing things. And so it was like DNA level. Now, but it was always a feeling. Like if I felt led to do something, then I would give money. So this was a challenge of being every month intentional on giving away money above and beyond the tithe or whatever you want to say. And so what was interesting was whenever I heard him talking about this, like I leaned over to my husband and I said, hey, listen, I want to give away half our revenue. He's like, we don't make 50% profit. Like you can't give away half. And I was like, okay, well, what can we do? And because I'm like an activator, like once I hear something, that's it. Like I'm done. And he said, you can give away half your profit. And so what was funny though, 2 weeks later, so the very first time I was supposed to cut the check was we were being told we didn't know if we could be open. We didn't know like what was going to happen. We had employees saying like, hey, I want a wall between, I want to work remote. I mean, we did not know.
Right.
So when I cut the check in April, I was losing clients.
Wow.
So, but I was like, I committed to it. And like, to me, all you have in life is your word, right? And your name. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. So I did it. And then that same day, I got a call from an attorney out in California. He was like, hey, listen, I heard you're the only one that can supply right now. That's still like my other legions are shutting down. And I need to spend $300,000 a month. It was the largest client by far.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was like, all right, like I was, not that every time you give something, you're going to get something, but it was like, I see when you put something out there and you are a person of your word and integrity, like it just comes back to you tenfold.
100%. I believe in karma. And I think it goes both ways too.
Yep, it does.
I've seen it. I've seen it both ways. People don't even realize.
No.
They say, oh, this bad stuff happens to me. But what are you putting out?
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're taking advantage of people, like it comes back tenfold.
Oh, for sure.
Whether you're investing in people or taking away, for sure.
Yeah. Half your profits is a lot though.
It's a lot of money. It is.
That is the most I've ever heard personally. I know there's humanitarians, but they're not doing your numbers.
So I think what's different is there's a lot of people, and again, I say this, like I love that people have a charitable and like philanthropy, like I love that. But they're like, hey, I'm doing this when I die. I'm like, that's great, but what are you doing now? Like that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Because for us, like we want to see the impact now. I want to hear the stories now. So, you know, when you sit there and it's like casting a stone, right? Like you sit there and you toss a rock across and it ripples. I want to see the ripples. Right. I want to see what happens. And so it's become something that when we committed to it, like we're going all in. So it's at a DNA level. Like my family understands it. Our kids understand it. Like they know. And then same with our employees and our attorneys, like everybody knows.
Wow.
And we were able to actually, you know, we're able to hire differently because of it.
Yeah,
so,
people probably like that, right? And you'll attract the right type of people.
We do. I mean, it gets the wrong people out and the right people in. So we're actually able to attract people. Like we went through a 7 months ago, I had my son, and he, and because I decided I wasn't busy, I decided to go ahead and restructure the company and bring in a bunch of new leadership to help really scale and grow the company even more. And what was funny is like our COO and our CMO, they were saying, and they worked at like Match.com and Goldman Sachs, and they were like, the reason why we came on was because like you're doing something different.
Wow.
And that's attracting big talent because it's more than just themselves. Like you can pay them all the money in the world, but at the end of the day, like, if you're miserable, if you're not working for something more than yourself, like you're not going to last.
A purpose, right?
Right? It is, 100%.
And how do you choose who to donate to? Because there's a lot of bad actors in the charity space.
There is. So, you know, when we first gave away money, it was like $5,000, $10,000. But when you get up to spending and giving away $500,000, like you are called to be stewards, right? And so I remember starting my company and we had this scale of green, yellow, red. Green was if we hit green, I knew I could feed me and my daughter dinner that night, right? And so whenever I look at our charities, I'm like, listen, I had to watch my dollars like I had nothing. And I still want to watch our dollars like we have nothing. Like it could go away tomorrow. So we asked them like, what is your payroll? What do you spend it on? Like, we really go through a lot of questions. And if they get uncomfortable, we're like, you're not our partner.
That's a red flag.
100%. Because you have to be able to be open, honest, and transparent. And if you're not, like, then you're not the right person for us. And that's fine. Like, that's okay. But if we're going in, giving away half our profits, and we work really hard to be able to do that, then we need to be able to trust that you're going to be a steward of the money that's given to you and put that out into the world to, whatever it is we're buying into.
Right.
So we really vet them.
I love that. I like when you could see where the money goes to.
So to me, it's all about ROI. So I ask them to break down for me every dollar where it goes. So I want to understand it. And then I'm actually asking them, like, what is their cost on it? So I'll even say, like, strategically, because if we've been able to do this in my business, what means I couldn't do it for a charity? Because at the end of the day, they may not have the best resources for payroll and things of that nature. So we're asking them questions and making them think differently as well. And so we're bringing them just a different set of skills.
Right. I like that. Yeah, because I've donated to charities and I don't see any results, and they just keep asking me for more money in the mail or email or text. It's crazy.
Yep.
And I don't even know where my money went.
No. And that's what's funny is we're able to show our employees or our leadership or just even our family, like, we're able to know, like, hey, this is how much money they made off of this investment. This is what they were able to do. Here's the bus they got. Here's the diapers they got, whatever it may have you.
Now, I know you've scaled this into a giant, but was it immediate success the first year or two, or was it a build up?
I'll tell you, I can tell you a million ways how not to run this company, I think is the easiest way to say it. So I started with one employee. We have close to 100 now. And, I'll tell you the number one, I say quality of a good CEO is humility. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you will not succeed. And so we completely have reached, like, I'd say changed the model probably 25 different times. And that's, taking your entire company and structure and completely redoing it. And if it doesn't work, or if we're scaling and what worked last year doesn't work this year, or last month doesn't work this month, like, we're flipping it on its head. And as long as we're trying to meet the customer's needs, meet our lawyers' needs, help them scale, help them grow, we have to be able to be open to that.
Yeah. I was watching you on another podcast. I thought this was interesting. In your hiring process, are you implementing personality tests?
So we do a survey. We have a personality survey. And what we do is, if you think about an interview, it's like a first date. Like, you don't know if someone's crazy or not, right? Like, that normally doesn't come out till later. So, what it comes down to is, like, an interview is just someone can put on a fake face, whatever may have you. So we know that for certain roles in the company, you need to have a certain personality. So for instance, if you're in sales and you hate talking to people, like, that's a bad fit, right? Even if you say, well, I want the money. Well, it doesn't matter, right? If your DNA level is someone who is a introvert and you have to deal with attorneys and, like, that type A personality, you will get run over, right? And so it's not fair to them, and it's not fair to the company. So we've absolutely implemented it along with, it's not like the end all be all, but it just gives you a indicator of, who they are at a DNA level, and is it the right fit for this role? And maybe it's not this role, but what's great is we're able to say, hey, you applied to sales, but it looks like you'd be really great over here in the customer service side. And they're like, oh yeah. And if we can do it, then we will. I
like that. You could definitely put on a show on the first interview. I've interviewed a couple people and they end up nothing like that interview.
No. So they say, this supposedly the survey tells you who you're going to be at day 91.
Oh.
So day 91, that's whenever, like, the facades come off. That's whenever the real person's out. And so we've used that, and we've seen our attrition, like, just drop dramatically because of that, because you're hiring the right people and you're hiring to your culture and you're really investing in the initial process, as opposed to, like, well, I don't know why it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? There's just only so much you can do.
Yeah. It was also hard during to hire people on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
It was hard to get, like, a feel, because I'm more like an in-person guy. I don't do any podcasts over Zoom.
Yeah, I can't. Zoom's really difficult to me. And I am, I'd say 95% of our people, like, they're in-house. So, like, we have our entire sales floor like the call center side. They're all in Oklahoma.
Nice.
So we just bought like a 70,000 square foot building last year because, when you're planning on world domination, right? Like you've got to have that. And so we're trying to build that out and build the right people out for it.
Right.
There in Oklahoma.
I love it. Now, working with your husband, was that smooth sailing?
I'll tell you, like my husband and I, we're partners, right? So at the end of the day, if you think of it like if you have a business partner or whatever may have you, but like your spouse is supposed to be your partner. And if you look at it, if you're both bought into the same thing, if you both want the best, right? And you're both buying into the why, it makes sense to work together, right? So when my husband came along, he had worked at one of the largest hospital chains in HR. And I was his HR nightmare. Like that was like, I was not like, I had no idea what HR was. And so I had this idea and he helped to bring on the elements to scale and grow it out. And we're blended. So it was a really big thing because we were blending our families, getting engaged, and then we started working together.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
So, we don't really argue a lot because we're very clear with each other on like expectations and what we think. And then we really rally around each other. So like when I'm here, like today I'm here, well, we know that one of the kids had a game, so he's there. And so he's doing that. And if it's something that I really need, then he's here with me. So it really has changed us, I think, and it's made us stronger. And it also, when I get home, he understands what I'm going through because he knows the business. He knows the people. And it also has a even higher level of trust because he knows the players that I'm around.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's really great.
That is true. I like that. Because a lot of couples actually, well, unfortunately, they don't seem to be able to work it out in business.
No, but I also think that if him and I were both the CEOs, like that would not work. Like I have zero patience, he has all the patience, right? So it's very clear roles on who's doing what. So I cast the vision, he's helping with the strategy and helping develop that. And then he's also my translator. Like, because sometimes when you're the CEO and the visionary, your head, like the way you speak is so high above everyone else, right? Because you're the dreamer. And so he's like, okay, guys, like this is what's going on in her head. This is where we're going. This is what she means. So he's able to bring it down at a granular level.
Translate your visions.
Yes.
I love that.
Probably a meeting after the meeting happens a lot. So, yeah.
That's so cool. Have you always been the CEO?
I have. I've always been the CEO. I feel right now where I'm at, like last year we went through a process and I didn't really know what I wanted. And the month before I had our son, I pulled it and I had like 9-figure offers on it.
Damn.
Yeah. And I decided I got real clear on what I want to be. And it's like, this is going to be $1 billion vision.
Wow.
While giving away half, like we started the Give 50 movement, which has been really big. And, our challenge is, hey guys, like we're redefining corporate responsibility and we're going to do some good now, like while we're alive. And so we want to bring on partners and other people who think the way we think, say, hey, listen, whether you want to give away 50% for a day, a week, a month, a year, because some people can't give it away, right? Or whether you don't even know, whether you don't have profit and I can help you get profit, will you commit to doing something and giving something back if I'm investing my time, right? And so right now, like I'm the CEO, but I'm moving more into this role, which is really fun for me because this is the exciting part of like what I get to do on a daily basis.
That's awesome. You and Dave Portnoy need to collab. Barstool Sports.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah, he just raised, I think, $1 million for that police officer.
Yeah, saw that.
Yeah, I mean, you two are killing it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think when you get people who are irrational and then you, like they're crazy in business, and when you can apply that to philanthropy, I mean, imagine how much good you can do.
So much good.
So much good. And at the end of the day, like the people who are in it just for them, they will make their profit and whatever may have you. But what's funny is, we make more money doing this than we do just trying to do it ourselves or just not giving away any profit. That's what people don't get.
Yeah.
I'm like, when you let go of it, then, I mean, people love it and they really invest in it if you're hiring the right people.
Yeah. You've definitely inspired me to start looking more into this because I used to donate to charity every year, but I stopped just because I've had negative experiences on the 3 I donated to.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you anything I can do to help on like the education thing, because like we were able to talk to some different women and they had the same experience. And I'm like, I'll tell you how to vet it.
Yeah.
And more than that, like I'm a shark with them. Like they don't like me initially. But at the end of the day too, I'm like, we've worked really hard for this.
Yeah.
So if we're going to give this to you, like you better be working twice as hard, right? I mean, because that's a big opportunity for them.
Right.
Like when you're meeting their annual budget in 1 month, that's a big deal.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're donating 6 figures a month.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Turning down 9 figures. You really know your purpose.
Yeah. Here's the deal. When I was like, I was a Chili's waitress.
Wow.
Bartender. Okay. I did not think, I had no idea what I was going to do, especially not personal injury. But you see the doors that have been opened and the things that were happening, right? And I know that like what I'm doing right now is exactly what I'm called to do.
That's so cool. 9 figures. You could have retired.
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, I'm not, here's the deal. Like I'll probably be 120, like bugging my husband, like I have this idea. Like, you know, I don't think I'll ever retire.
Yeah. So you and him agreed on that decision?
Yep, we did. He was when I told him we were at a leadership summit in Chicago and I said like, hey, I don't have a piece. And he was like, okay, you're 8 months pregnant. Like, are you sure you don't have a piece? Like, are you sure it's not? And I was like, no, listen. And he was like, listen, if you think you don't have a piece, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a big deal for your husband to trust you or your spouse to trust you to be like, okay, like, yeah, we're doing this. I'm like, no, like we're going to push, we're going to grow, and we're going to bring on the right team, and we're going to make this thing even bigger, and we're going to make even more of an impact.
That's major. How big's the team now?
So whatever, I went through the process, we had about 30 some odd people, and then we're close to 100 now.
Whoa.
I mean, so it's not, I mean, he's only 7 months, so we've gone through some rapid hiring.
So you've tripled in just that pregnancy?
I know, because I figured I wasn't busy, right? Go ahead and like rebuild and regrow and all this stuff. So
no maternity leave for you?
No, that's not really my jam. So, but I'm really glad because Wilder, he's our 7-month-old. He like sleeps 12 hours. Like he loves his mama. So he's a good baby.
Love that name. Was that your first one?
No, so we have 5. So we have 5 kids.
Wow.
Yes. And we're blended. So we had 3. I had 1. Okay. And then this is our one together.
Wow. 5 kids. I love that.
Yep.
I used to only want 1, but now as I meet more people, I kind of want more than that.
I mean, it's fun. I had an older brother and 2 younger sisters. So our house was always chaos. Yeah. And I loved it. And so like now, like every Sunday we go over to my mom's, and there's 10 grandkids total. So it is, and 9 of them are under 8.
That's cute.
Yeah. So it's cute for about, 20 minutes. And then we're like, go outside, like go run and play.
I love that. Cool to see you're still really tight with your family too. That's something I didn't get. Like my dad's side was weird, but I never met my mom's side too.
Yeah, that's like my dad. He had 9 brothers and sisters. We weren't really close with like just one of them. And my dad was like, hey, listen, I don't care what you do in life. This is your family. Like you will be close. Nice. So like if we're arguing or fighting, like my dad's like, I don't care. Like figure it out. Like, this is the only family you have. Yeah. So he really at a DNA level, like made sure that we understood like, this is your family and like, you're going to be close and you're going to be tight and you'll work things out.
Yeah, I think it's important. My fiance who you met, like her family's super tight and I just never grew up around that, but I actually really like it.
I'll tell you, I feel really bad for all of the spouses that have come into our family because it's like there's a lot of personality going on in there. And so all the females have really big personalities. And then my brother, and then, with my mom and dad too. So it took someone special to marry all of us.
Yeah, but were your parents and siblings kind of entrepreneurial as well?
So what's funny is my mom, so my dad started his own business when I was born. So he's a real estate appraiser. And then my mom was a stay-at-home mom until she was like 40. Wow. And she decided to go into real estate. So she started selling real estate and she's now like the largest real estate, seller of real estate in Eastern Oklahoma County. What? I know, she's bad. Yeah, damn. I know. And so she did that. And then my sister does New Skin and she's like one of the top in the United States. Like she's going to Dubai next week on a company trip for that. I know, right?
Your family is just sharks.
Well, yeah. I mean, just think of the spouses though. I pray for the spouses on what they have to deal with everybody.
It's tough dating a girl that can get it like that, you know?
You know, I mean, I think it is. And you have to be able to ask for help too, right? And so that's one thing that like with my husband, because he's really patient and because I'm not, like I have to be able to be really clear and let him help out on things because otherwise it can start feeling like you're just running everything.
Right.
And you just don't want to do that.
And I think as a guy, like we want that kind of feeling of taking care of the family and business and stuff too.
Yeah. And I think you have to redefine like, what does that look like? Because everyone looks at that financially.
Right.
But what was interesting is like with my husband, like he's big picture. So I'll sit there, I'll be telling him about a problem, and he went and created a campaign, and it like my normal cost of goods sold, let's say are 50%. He created a campaign, never been in marketing, 8% cost of goods sold.
Wow.
Brought in $10 million. And he's like, what did I contribute? I'm like, okay, let's really remember this thing. Like that's huge. Like that's more than anything I have ever done.
10 million, yeah.
Yeah, it's huge. And so you have to almost redefine what society says is like, as a male, you're supposed to be the provider or this. I'm like, yeah, but if you financially, like with your thoughts and with the ideas you come up with, like you're generating things too for the family, for the business, whatever may have you. It's just redefining that.
Absolutely. So are you only doing injury law clients right now?
Yeah, I mean, right now, so because they make the big ROI from us, we're able to charge the most.
Got it.
And so that's really our bread and butter. We're moving into mass torts, which is still personal injury. But the goal is in personal injury you won't be able to like eat, sleep, breathe without seeing Quintessa throughout like everything in personal injury.
I love it. So people watching this that know a personal injury lawyer, what's the requirements to work with you?
So one, it comes down, we have 3 Ps. So you have to have people, processes, and pockets, right? So you have to have the right people, the right staff. You have to have financial backing or like be able to fund. And then processes are like, you just can't be a solo entrepreneur, right? We can work with small firms that are starting that like, hey, I've got 2 people, I need cases. And if I got cases in, I mean, I can invest back into it. And then I think being a decent human being, right? I mean, that's really big. Like we will not work with jerks. Like,
wow.
We fire
even if
people.
they have money?
I don't care. I've worked way too hard to become where I'm at. And I don't want to deal with someone who is going to call me every day or be upset about something. And it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
It's
the
just
stress.
not.
Yeah. Especially if you're working with pregnancy, you don't want that stress affecting the kid.
No. And even for our employees, like I've taken over a call when an attorney was being a jerk. I'm like, you will not speak that way to our people.
Wow.
It just doesn't happen. I don't allow it. Like,
so you defended your employees?
Yeah. I mean, it's just not okay. Because sometimes people think, well, I spend this so I can say, and I'm like, no. Like you give something, we give you something, but this is a partnership. And like, I don't speak to my spouse that way. I don't speak to my kids, my employees that way. Like you're not going to speak. I don't care how you talk to your family. I hope you don't talk that way, but we're going to treat each other with respect.
Different leadership styles. I think some people rule by fear, and that's like the older model, but I think there's a new wave.
You know, when people say like, well, I'm like, that's great. I'm going to your competitor. Like if you come at me like that, like that's like the reason why this was started is because someone told me we wouldn't be in business more than a year.
Wow.
So yeah,
that guy's probably pissed right now.
Yeah, he's out of business. So he was my ex-boss. He sent me a nameplate and said Lauren Vaughn, and it still sits on my desk. And he said you won't last more than a year, and here we are.
So you keep tabs.
$1,000,000,000.
Yeah. You and Dave are really similar. You two definitely got to meet. Lauren, it's been really fun. Anything you want to close off with?
Well, I mean, 1, thank you so much for having me. And 2, I mean, I would just say the big thing that we're working on right now is the Give 50 movement. Okay. So, I mean, I would just say if there are people listening that don't even know where to start, like, please reach out to me because we are really wanting to do some good and anything I can do to help that out.
Awesome. Well, is there a site for that or just reach out to you?
Yep. So it's give50.org. So it's all spelled out. And then at the Lauren Vaughn on Instagram, like that's somewhere that you can reach me to.
Cool. We'll link below. Thanks so much for coming on, Lauren.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.